So I'm going to do a video about my timber frame shed that I built and about how and why I needed to do it. This is a project I built all from scratch, and I've never built like one of these things at all before. So here we go. I had this old shed that was in the way of this wall, and I wanted to put a doorway in where that last window is so I could access the house without having to go through the garage. So I was going to build this porch, and the shed had to go. So I went and bought some lumber for the base, and then I went and bought some lumber for the actual shed from the local mills right around the corner from me. I dug a trench, I rototilled the trench, and dug a trench for the power and wiring conduits. So I ran power to the shed and then generator power back from the shed as well. And this is where it was going to be coming up into the house. I ran some tape over the top of the conduit in case I ever get in there again, and this is where I have it coming into the house. So I poured footers 4 feet down the ground below the frost line, and then I got the footers all done with the base of the shed. It's all pressure treated. There's some deck boards I went and picked up with my daughter, and these are all the deck boards down. You can see the power coming up in the garbage bag there. So I didn't really know what I was going to do for a shed. I just kind of looked online for some ideas, and I really had no idea what I was doing, and just kind of bought some lumber and went with it. And I started chiseling out and mortising out the holes, and really labor intensive doing this all by hand. I tried to drill out the holes a little bit to hog some material out and then just chisel it. I definitely do it again. I get like a chainsaw mortiser or drill mortiser. My daughter thinking she was doing something. This is like a little template I made to make sure that the 45s were all going at the right angles together and matched. This is one of the 45 corners. And just plugging away. It was a lot of work. One thing I realized afterwards was that I could do a bigger shed for the same amount of effort as what I did this little shed. This is only 9 by 10. I tried to make it under 100 square feet, so I need the permit. And there's the first corner post going up. I tried doing a lot of this by myself, and then got to the point where it just got too heavy and big to be able to do by myself. I got that first end up, and then this was a winter project, as you can tell, so I just worked on it in the garage, and then went out inside and stood the pieces up, and made the pieces as I went. So I needed a new piece, started made it, and then went out and set it up. Here you can see where I'm trying to drill out the holes before chiseling, just to get some of that material out of there. And then I put up the next row of post and cross member. And then you can start to see some of the power is actually going out in the shed, because I was working on the shed in the winter, and obviously it gets dark at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so I get out of work by home at 4 o'clock, and then it was dark, so I had to have lights and power so I could run the tools to do this work. A little entry light. And the power's all weatherproof, so I could, for one, to keep it weatherproof but also mouse proof. And this is coming into the house, the generator power coming in. It goes through its own circuit board, or circuit box. And there's the light working outside. It's a weatherproof light. And continued work on doing the post. Like I said, I did some and then came outside and did more. This was just trying to figure out where the hole in the bottom would be to stand on. We had to notch the bottom of the post to fit over that hole in the bolt. And here you can see I was struggling with putting up some of these posts, I believe, right here by myself, trying to get that top beam in there. Ended up having to have my brother come up and help me out. You can see, how dark it was when I was working out here, which is why I had to have the light. I was using the router to try to get some of the holes out. I just made a little jig, plywood jig, and just try to step out some of these things. And I'd use the chisel to knock those steps out. I was just trying anything to try to speed this work up. Made lots of sawdust for sure. And I was just test fitting in my 45 brace and just kind of setting in and then putting the top beam on. And this is where I think the beam fell on me after I tried putting it up. But, the stuff's all still pretty heavy. It was semi-green. And then more of the picture of it going together. This is just the drill bit I was using to hog out some of the holes. I may have used the same drill bit for pinning, but you see how I drilled out the notches and then chiseled them out. And some of the wood just sitting in the garage. So I had this wood sitting in the garage for a couple, 3 months drying out. Here's the bird's mouth I was making for the rafters to get set into. You can see that being set up onto the framing. And you can see how the 45s get locked in there. It's just a matter of making these joints just loose enough to fit, but also tight enough to stay together. And this would be the other, that same bird mouth there. I got some, I think these are the deck boards on the second floor of the roof, or on the roof, but on the second floor. This is just kind of looking down at the deck in my old truck that I used to haul this wood. This is the second floor decking. This was just kind of figuring out what I wanted to do for bracing, and I put that cross piece in there. So the left side is going to be the entryway to the doorway to get my snow blowing in and out and stuff. This is a door that's not facing the street. And here I'm working on my rafters. You can see where I came up with the design for for bird mouths for the rafters to sit down, notch down into. And here I was just testing the design out on those, making sure they're uniform. I had one piece of scrap piece, and I just tested them all to make sure they all fit. And then I figured out what I wanted for spacings of all my rafter pieces and roof pieces, and I drew this up in CAD, and actually had all my spacings just right. And then I clamped all my boards together and then cut them all out at once, so that way I don't even know what the terms are all this wood is, but all my cross boards will all be right, and they matched up, so I wouldn't have to be fighting to get them all lined up. So I kind of assembly lined it right there, and it sped things up for sure. And let's see, this is just more of those rafters. You can see how it's shaped. The end of the hangs off the end of the eave there. These are really pretty easy to get up, but I could just carry them up and walk around on the deck there at this point. And then I got a 4x4 as my top roof beam there. And here's a picture of my brother and I working together, setting this stuff up. It was great to have some help because these things were so heavy, and holding them up and line them up in the snow and whatever. And there's basically all the wooden structure all done. At that point, there was no. I did put some screws down into the cross pieces on the roof, but there's no metal in this structure at all other than that. It's all pinned together. This is some tongue and groove I was using for my roofing, and I put a tarp over the top of it to keep it semi-dry. It's a picture from the inside. Picture from outside looking up. It's just as I'm working my way up through to get those all those roof boards on. This tree on the left has actually been cut down since then. It was kind of getting a little close to the shed, and I didn't want to deal with it being in the middle of the yard, mowing around it. So I cut that down. Probably been easier if I cut that down before I built the shed, but all of these pictures weren't really designed to be put in a video, but I wanted to make a video to show it. So they're not quite the right size, and didn't really have any video footage of building it and notching it and all that stuff. And I put a window in it, framed up the window and put the window in. Just got one window on the front side and then doors. I knew I was going to be doing work on the house, so I went and bought doors to match. It was where it's all sided, or sheathed, whatever you want to call it, and then put some bottom wrap on it. And then I went and bought doors, and I bought 3 doors, one for the shed and one for the new entryway into the house, and then one to replace the garage door to match. So I have, when I stay in there, all 3 doors match. Those were on a sale at Lowe's at the time, so I got a real good deal on those. Only like $225 a piece or something. The little room up there is obviously not big enough for me to stand up there, but I thought maybe the kids could go play up there, so I built the ship's ladder to get up into it, and I put the generator underneath this little floor here, so that keeps that out of the way, and the kids can go up in the roof. And it's obviously been sided in so they can't fall out the holes. This is and then I actually haven't got that finished up yet. I haven't got a window in there yet. And I had a friend come over that does roofing, and he put a standing seam roof on it for me. It's one of those things, I don't have the skills and tools to do that, so I had him come and do that for me. Just standing seam, so I'll never have to touch it again. Should last much longer than I'll be around. And it looks really nice. This shed is going to last far longer than the house will when it's all done. And then on the house, I got that shed going, which is right underneath that window. Now I got this new shed, so I took out the window and framed that up to put a doorway in. And this was an office space at the end of the house. It was kind of more just a junk storage, so changing to a mudroom was going to make a big difference to our house. And that way my wife and kids don't have to come through my garage to come into the house. So there's that same type of door there, a little fiberglass. And once again, I was doing this in the wintertime. So I'd take out a window and frame it all up and then cut the hole and slap the window in. I guess it's springtime, you see the trees have some green leaves on them. And I added that big window in there that wasn't there at all. And then I put the door in on the garage. And this door went from a 30-inch door to a 36-inch door, so I had to cut out some of the foundation to make that fit. And then put all the siding back on. There's that tree, you can see this going now. And here I am getting ready to do the porch. You can see some of the building materials there. And that's the door at the end of the garage. This is the back side of the house, and those are the other 2 windows that are on the back side of that room. So there's a lot of room in that, a lot of light in that room now. That wasn't there at all before. I added a bunch of sockets in and new light fixture and plenty of power. I built a closet. We gave her our winter jackets and clothes and junk. So yeah, there's only 2 small windows in this room before, so a lot more light. And then drywalled and mudded it. And built some cabinetry in there, got some shelves on the side, and then coat hook on the right. And put a coat of primer on. And then we painted it this blue-gray color. And you see there's a light inside the closet. And you can see we didn't paint all the way down because we were putting all wainscoting on the bottom. So I put a plastic wainscoting and plastic trim in this whole room, so when the kids come in with their wet clothes, it's not going to ruin everything. So all the sills to windows are all plastic, and it keeps it more maintenance free. I did build a storage box, that's bench to sit on, so you can sit down and put your shoes on and stuff, and put more junk in it to try to hide some stuff. It's all oak. And I still got the carpet in here at this point, and a couple years later, until I got around to doing tiles. This whole room's been tiled since. And I got to put a desk in. Well, I used to have a desk, but I had this cheap laminate top desk, and I put a piece of oak-faced laminate or plywood on there. Got the doors that kind of match that craftsman style. And here I am working on the porch to get into the house. I had those cheap set of steps I made there temporarily before, so I poured these piers, and this is not attached to the house at all, so it's not any water that's built up on the deck isn't going to necessarily migrate into the house. And so I poured these all down. They're all down 4 feet below ground. For my joists, these are all 1 foot on center because I'm using plastic wood, and I know that plastic doesn't have quite the same strength as the wood as the regular timber decking. And so it's kind of an odd shape. Everyone kind of gave me slack about this shed, or the shape of it, saying, oh, it's not going to be good, but it's more of a walkway, and it kind of gives you room, but it also makes it easy to mow around it, not being a square edge shed, or a square edge porch. And this is putting the siding on the shed. I kept debating as well what I was going to do. Do I want to do like a cedar siding or natural wood siding or whatever, and I ended up saying screw it and put vinyl on it. It's really definitely not the right siding for a timber frame shed, but it's just nice to know that I ever have to maintain it again. And see, they framed up the end of this wall up here, and I put a little window in up there I was going to plan to a window to put I was going to put a stained glass window in there, and that's going to be backlit. So I got that size to be a little American flag. One of these days I'll get around to finishing that up. So thanks for watching my video about my shed, and please like and subscribe for more content. When I get this a little more work done with the stained glass, I'll post an update. But thanks for watching.